The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine.
And I'm Steve.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. Happy new week, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah, midweek. Well, after midweek.
Oh, yeah. How's your week been, Steve?
My week has been really good, and I was thinking I have this question for you.
Okay.
It's adjacent to our topic of the day. Not even adjacent, but in the realm of relationships and love.
Okay.
Because we're talking about love bombing today, but then we're going to take a little detour just for a moment because I'm really curious about your thoughts on this. Have you ever had someone say, "I want to be just friends"? Or have you ever been the person to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
What is that about? I'm very curious about the just friends. Just friends.
What do I interpret that as?
Yeah.
Is that they don't want a romantic relationship, that they
Right.
don't want to be intimate or develop any kind of feelings about love, but they like you enough to have a friendship feeling, and they don't want to hurt your feelings or mislead you. I would rather have somebody say to me, "Hey, I would prefer to be friends than anything else," because that just says to me that they value who I am as a person.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones that run away or ghost you or whatever are the ones that, take advantage of you.
Well,
and then
that's a
run
great
away.
question. But that's a great question. So you do value someone.
I
But
think so.
one of the things that a lot of people are talking about is they're dating with intention.
Yeah, I
And
think I've heard that more in the last 3-4 years than ever.
yeah. So let's say someone's dating with intention and they come across someone who wants to be just friends. What do you think?
At that point, no, I would
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah.
I would say, "Hey, I appreciate that, but I have enough friends,
Yeah.
and I certainly don't need any male friends that I don't really have any strong long-term ties with the potential of a man that I want to date with intention come into my life." Because I feel like a lot of that is you're blocking your way if you have people in your life that are keeping you distracted from moving towards the situation that you want, like a
Yeah.
relationship.
I'm really glad you say that because I come across a lot of clients who are in this phase. They may not have used the term dating with intention, but they want to have a partnership. They want a relationship. And they come across some kind of experience. I've experienced it myself too, where someone's doesn't desire them as much as they want to be desired. They don't see a future for some kind of romantic relationship. And I think it's really interesting. It's important to actually be clear about what it is that you want. And I was thinking about this today because I have this client I'm working with. And if you continue to see someone who just is not interested in going in the same direction, like you have more feelings for them, or maybe you haven't caught feelings yet, but there's definitely desire. And they want to be friends, but you continue along that path, it's going to keep reflecting back to you that they don't desire you.
Right. I think a lot of women do that, don't you think? Because they think they'll change them, or something will click and they'll fall for them. And, as they get to know me more, he'll see how fucking great I am.
Yeah.
I do that in a mocking fashion because they never do. It's not going to change. I mean, maybe, but not always.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to know where you stand and to be really clear about where you stand and be clear about what the other person stands. That's really easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people are afraid to discuss things.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe my generation, like Gen X, we didn't talk about things because our parents didn't talk about things.
Yeah.
Our parents were told you were to be seen, not heard. I remember a lot growing up of hearing, you don't talk about politics and religion,
Yeah.
in certain circumstances. And money was one of those. I grew up being ashamed to discuss money. And it's hard to be a businesswoman where you're dealing with multi-million dollars worth of money every year,
Yeah.
for your clients, and then you're afraid to discuss money. And I had to get over that real fast.
Yeah.
I think that people of our generation were taught not to discuss things too, and we're starting to learn. But then the generations under us, not my older children, they communicate a lot better. My older ones are millennials, and my youngest one is a Gen Z.
Gen Z, yeah.
And they don't really want to communicate. They don't even want to talk to you or look at you. They are always constantly looking at phones, looking at screens. And that
I'd rather communicate with an emoji than a full sentence.
Correct.
But there's something interesting. Yeah. Also, there's something interesting where there was kind of a mystique in dating and relationships where there was, because I'm Gen X also, like the unspoken gestures and the unspoken hints. And I have to be honest, I'm so glad that we've moved into an age of consent where you actually lay it out there. But I think it requires us to move beyond the just emoji communications and actually learn fully communication. Because I know that one of the things we might have talked about in previous calls or previous podcasts is ghosting. And like, how can we have full and complete communications, which could be a nice tie into what we were talking about today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are avoidant. And they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. They don't want to see someone cry. They don't want to feel guilty for not liking them. Or they're like others that, are on the dating sites and they date multiple people. And then you just kind of let everybody else fall off and you keep the one that keeps going. And, I'm guilty of that. It's not like I tried to ghost anybody. It's just the conversations fall off. Feelings don't connect or match, and we're in a modern age of being on a website, going from emails to texting to maybe a phone call before you go out. And if it's just not there, it's just not there. And I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't have anything invested in this person, so why should I have to say, hey, you're not for me, when they're just going to cry and get upset and say, why, you're an asshole. I think people just don't want to deal with the messiness of it. And people can get very messy when it comes to their emotions.
Yeah.
So,
you remind me of something that we might do an episode on in the future where, because when you are engaging with someone on a dating app or with minimal connection, other than photos or snippets of texts and chatting and maybe a few phone conversations, all that you really have is your projections of them.
Yes.
So
yes.
In a way, when it falls off or you don't feel spark, what you're really saying is, I don't know enough about you to project onto you what I'm projecting, because it's, it's
100%.
I don't know who
100%.
you are, but for some reason I can't project onto you who I want you to be.
Yes, 100%. I do believe that, because I think in the beginning, and when people get very excited, they feel some kind of spark or something with someone, they tend to not know that they are mirroring or projecting, and they just want it so badly that I keep hitting my mic, that other person may not even be feeling it at all. You're feeling it, so then you're projecting it onto them, and then you get home and you think it went great. You call everybody, oh my God, I met the one. And then, you're ghosted. And
I think what we're really looking for is dry kindling.
Yeah.
So I could
Yeah.
project a spark onto you and you'll ignite.
Yes, I think that's what they want.
That
I
was
mean,
a
I
bad
think
joke.
a lot of people are just desperate to find the kindling, that
Yeah,
fire, that spark. I do. I think people are really
yeah.
desperate for love and connection. I think that we're very disconnected anymore.
Mm.
We're not even connected as a country or community. Some communities don't, we live in Los Angeles. Yeah, we got community pride. But do you know your fucking neighbor down the street? No, you don't. Small town America back in the day, yes, we did. So I went home recently
Mhm.
and I was talking to a handful of people that are left in my hometown. And they
Mm.
all said the entire town is filled with new people. Nobody knows anybody.
Wow.
And I was shocked. There's only 175 people in
Mm.
my hometown. How the actual fuck
Mm.
do you not know your neighbor? Right?
Well, it's interesting because must be an anomaly because I live in a building where there's 18 units, and I know my neighbors.
See, I love that. I know my immediate neighbors here.
Yeah.
My neighbors like me because when I go and cook as a chef and I come home after an event and I have a bunch of packaged food, I
Mm.
take it to all my neighbors.
Yeah, I want to live in your building.
Right.
One
And
of
I'll
my
tell you,
neighbors. One of
no,
my
go ahead.
neighbors does that. One of my neighbors
That-
is in the entertainment industry, and they have catering, and he'll bring stuff up.
I love that. Yeah, I know. It's like, look, I do it for a reason. Okay. It's kind of selfish. If I need something, I need to know that that I know my neighbors.
Yeah, yeah,
If someone in the building needs something, I want them to know that they can come to me.
yeah.
That I'm a safe place.
I'm the same. Yeah,
I need that. Some of the people in my building I don't like and
yeah.
I avoid.
We won't tell them, and let's hope they're not listening.
Yeah, I hope not. I have numbers saved to my phone for my neighbors that are like weird neighbor, stalker neighbor.
Oh, I don't do that.
I have it. I have to label them so I know who's calling.
Mm.
And the weird neighbor, I tell all my friends, I said, hey, if I go missing, you got to go look at number XYZ because
Well,
stalker
we
material.
have already Mickey and Anastasia are in the chat already saying some things. We love it when you participate, just so you know. I love looking over at the chat. And if we don't get to you right away, please don't take that personally. We will get to you. But
we
Mickey
love
said,
the interaction.
yes, but some just don't worry about it and let things H naturally. I'm guessing happen naturally. Yeah, and that's she's probably referring to the earlier things we were talking about with relationships and then Anastasia, it happens.
What do you think, Steve, is the difference between, say, the love bombing and when you feel a healthy, real love connection or feeling in the beginning?
That's a great question because I was thinking about you. We were talking about this as a possible topic. And I would suspect that we don't know in the beginning.
No.
I think there's a lot of chemistry going on.
Yeah.
Our entire inner pharmacy has released all these chemicals and we feel sensation. We feel emotion. We like the way they smell. We like the way they look. So I would suspect, and this is probably not true all the time, but I suspect most of us are wanting to find a connection. We're looking for what we like. Some people might be looking for what they don't like. So they're trying to disconnect or dismiss or find someone who doesn't fit their pictures. And this could be a good hint for people. If you keep finding people who you don't like and you don't connect with, maybe you're looking for ways to cross them off the list rather than going into the experience.
Yes.
Let's see what I could like and enjoy and appreciate about this person. So that could be a hot tip. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I have some signs that you might be getting love bombed. And then I have what real healthy love feels like.
Okay.
So I have a couple of different things and, interject wherever you'd like. So the signs that I jotted down that might be getting love bombed and you don't know means it's like Okay, you've never felt this way before. You're my soulmate. And all of that is coming in the
Mhm.
first week. It's the
Okay.
intense declarations that are way too soon. I'm not saying a month, month and a half, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. I'm talking about first week. They're like, you're the woman or man of my dreams, and you're my soulmate. And I've never felt like this. Well, because every single time you feel these feelings, they're different.
Mm. Mm.
So, of course, you've never felt these feelings before. They're new, you
Yeah.
know?
So let me ask you, what if someone is eager? They're just so eager that they come across as over eager. Like they're just so want a connection. Maybe they're coming out of a long dry spell and they've been lonely or got for
Mhm,
sure a lot of us experienced that
mhm.
during COVID where we just kind of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been alone. I haven't touched a human being in a long time. So I'd imagine there was that phase. Um,
Yeah, sometimes you feel these really intense things, and they burn hot real fast, and they're
mhm,
like a fast burn, like a spark. It goes out very quickly, and
mm,
you just have to pay attention. It's like something like that isn't going to last 6 months to a year.
mhm.
um but keep in mind that love bombing isn't going to last more than a couple of months.
So, well, let me ask you something. Did you come up with a definition for love bombing? Because there's a quality of the word or the phrase that implies there's some manipulation going on.
Yeah,
So,
I think that it is. I just don't even know if some people who love bomb even know that they're kind of innate to manipulate.
mhm.
Ooh,
Innate. I'll jot that
you
down.
like? Yeah, I like that one. And some people just have this innate quality or thing about them. Maybe they're not a massive narcissist, but they got narcissism behavior, and they need things to go their way. And to manipulate somebody, you have to love bomb them. And I don't think that everybody intentionally, um, well, this is the thing. I don't love bomb.
Mhm.
Yeah, I might say that I'm really like hot for someone real quick, or I can't wait to see them again and shit like that. But I'm not going to tell somebody they're my only thing in my life. I've never felt this way. You're my soulmate. I love you. I'm not going to say that shit that fast,
Yeah.
because I'm healthy and I'm healing. People who have unhealed trauma are going to get sucked into that
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
easily,
Well,
manipulated
I
very
want to
easily.
say one thing that, first of all, you said in order to manipulate someone, you have to love them. That's not necessarily so. You
Oh,
can
yeah, no,
you
you're
can
right. You're
you
right.
can manipulate people with disparaging remarks
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like diss them, so to speak, and kind of put them down, and that might be a form of
Well,
manipulation because it might hook people in.
you know what I see a lot of, Steve, is people who love bomb early and then switch to what you just said.
Yeah,
So
that's
love bombing can't be sustained because, one, it's not natural for them to sustain that because they don't really feel it.
yeah.
It's a manipulation tool. Okay, it's just a
Mhm,
tool. And then that love bombing starts switching to, snide remarks, put
mhm,
downs, make you second guess yourself, make you feel like, why am I always not good enough? Or
mm,
that will happen. Other ways of showing love bombing is pressure to commit early, either moving in, marriage, exclusivity. Those are be so aware of those things. Lavish gifts, attention that feels disproportionate.
Well, hang on.
Um,
Let's slow down and take some of these apart some because, first of all, I was going to add that some of this comes from the historical way that people used to court one another. If you
yeah,
look at the movies and bringing flowers and bringing chocolate, these what we would call big overtures,
right.
which nowadays might be you bring flowers on the first date. That's a lot.
I
That's
love it.
You love
It
it on a
Yes.
first date.
Yes, why
But a lot of
not?
people, I would say, would think that's too much.
I don't know. I love it.
Okay.
I'm a girl who loves to be wooed. I
Okay.
like the old courtship stuff. I
So, but
want a man to bring me
well, how do you
flowers.
differentiate that between that and love bombing?
It's respectful. It's a man showing a woman that he appreciates her beauty or her time or her efforts, and he is showing her that he can be romantic and
Okay.
thoughtful. That goes a long way for me. That
Okay.
shows me that a man's going to bring me or send me flowers because he's thinking about me, not because he's done something fucking wrong and has to send them to me. The
Okay.
last time I got flowers was from a boyfriend who sent me flowers because he fucked up.
So
And
I'm going to suggest here, and this would be great to get people piping in about this, that if are you familiar with the love languages?
mhm,
So there's a book written by I forgot his name, but he's written this really great book, and it's very elegant in its simplicity about 5 distinct ways of expressing love, and how we receive love too. And one of them is giving gifts. So
mhm,
I would suspect that you respond really well to receiving gifts, but
I
I would.
res-
What's that?
no, go ahead, go ahead. You
I
would
would
what?
suggest that some people that might be a little much on a first date. Maybe
Um,
if their love language was not gift giving, that might be a lot. I don't know. What do we
you know,
hear from our listeners?
I was just saying the other yesterday or day before to someone I know. We were talking about receiving and giving to other people in a relationship and the love language kind of thing. And
Hmm.
I said personally,
Yeah.
I feel that the person who is able to tap into all the love language for themselves and be able to give those, that's your more rounded person.
Yeah.
That's your person that's open to receiving in the proper way in a relationship, and it's a give and take of equal value. It could be one day it's a gift giving, the next day, next week it's you're that emotional support, or you are showing up for your partner. There's so many different ways to
Hmm.
do love languages, but people get stuck in saying, "Oh, I'm a quality time person." Well, if you're just giving me quality time, you're not filling all my needs.
Well, I think that's part of the point of the book is to actually be able to see which one is your you're
Right.
naturally drawn to expressing this
Oh,
way or receiving. And I think
oh,
learning to be multilingual in the love
yes,
language is
yes,
really the goal. I agree with you that some people say, "Oh, well, I'm only this or I'm only that." Then they get stuck in a place where it's
yeah.
actually a way to understand yourself and understand your partner, and which is why I said I think it's elegant and simple and a great way to kind of reflect on yourself and your partner. Um, but
Mhm.
going back to my point, an overture that would be a giving of a gift on a first date that might be a lot for somebody. Do you do
It
you
can
feel
be, but
do you
it
feel like words of affirmation because the things that you listed that you equate with love bombing were about verbal overtures or expressions?
wait, say that
Read
again?
read the ones that you read before, and those most of those are equated with verbal expressions of love. So you read the things that you were saying about love bombing.
Pressure to commit early, lavish gifts or attention that feels
Okay, so
disproportionate.
not all of them. Okay.
Wants all your time and isolates you from others.
Okay, so we
Uh,
now have all the different love languages almost.
mhm. Quick
So what is
emotional shifts, and it feels like a high. Those are my 6 points.
okay, so what is the underlying quality that I would guess that it's not attuned. It's not sensitive to how it's going to be received. Like even in a friendship, if I was overly, let's say I acknowledged you all the time, you would think I was up to something. You would be suspicious, wouldn't you?
Well, I think if someone is over the top and too much of one thing, that yeah, it can be like, what the fuck, dude? You're drowning me with compliments. Can you give me a second? That's why I was saying you have to have this balance between being able to be emotionally supportive to somebody, to give words of affirmation, but be like, hey, I think you're fucking hot today, or I think you're amazing today. And just, leave it at that.
Mhm.
Words of affirmation when someone may not expect it is amazing, but it's not something that you want to like overwhelm somebody with, or they're just going to run. If you want to talk about ghosting, that's a see you never.
Well, when we were prepping for this conversation today, I told you about the word limerence.
Yeah,
And
what is that?
limerence is, there was a psychologist who created the term to describe a kind of love. And limerence is I'm going to read the definition. Limerence is a state of intense, obsessive infatuation with another person, often characterized by intrusive thoughts and a strong desire for reciprocation. It's distinct from love in that it's typically one-sided and based in uncertainty about the other's feelings. Limerence can be all-consuming, impacting mood and behavior, and while not officially a mental disorder, it can be akin to an addiction or obsession. So it's kind of like being infatuated with someone. It's a quality of how you express your desire or your interest in someone. So when we talked about love bombing as a manipulation, this might be another aspect of why someone might come on so strong is they get swept up in something. They are over, like it does feel like the first time. And like you pointed out, yeah, it's the first time every time. Every time's different, but it might have this quality to it where it feels like, oh my God, I've never felt this way before. So maybe there's an aspect of it that's not deliberately manipulative, like I'm trying to get something from you, but I am swept up. And then I'd see there's another piece that also could be trauma-based, where I feel intense connection with you, and I'm afraid I might lose it.
Oh,
So that
okay.
might be another
That's
aspect
super
of,
trauma. Yeah.
love bombing or, limerence, that, oh my gosh, I'm attracted to you and I'm afraid it's going to go away. Or I have to demonstrate my worthiness.
Well, that's
something like that.
anxious attachment.
Yeah.
That's more of the way that someone attaches to people. We've talked about anxious, other attachments before. This kind of goes along with that, though. I mean, I think that people who love bomb really are seeing people. Listen, people who are narcissists or manipulative, they can read people. And people who are unhealthy, who have an anxious attachment, or they can see that from the other person, and what they're doing is knowing they can use those love bombs on them. I've had people who love bomb me in the past when I was still in my trauma, and I fell for it easily because all I wanted to be was loved and wanted and needed, and all these wonderful things that they were slamming in my face. And then next thing you know, it's like massive abuse, from husbands. And like I'll throw that in there last second. But I think that when you start to heal, when you start addressing the trauma and you are facing your shadows and working on yourself, love bombing isn't gonna happen. Because I had somebody from my past recently, not recently, but fairly recently, someone from my past who I'd dated casually, and remained really good friends with over the years, going through some massive like drug and alcohol problems, and I wasn't aware of it, and was messaging me and calling me and saying, I've been in love with you all these years, and I need, to be with you, and I can't be apart anymore. This is crazy, and love bombed me big time. And I almost kind of fell for it because I knew him so long and we were friends for so long and we like casually dated for a couple of years. So I just thought, well, maybe he really does care about me. And I would consider looking at this because he was such a close friend. And that could be a really great relationship if it worked out, right?
Mhm.
No, no, no. I found out, of course, that he was drinking and had a lot of drugs going on. And the love bombing was really every time he did it, though, understand, even though I said I almost fell for it, every time he did it, I literally saw it. I saw it.
I want to ask you about that.
And
All
I
right.
pointed it out every time. I say,
Yeah.
hey, listen, I understand that you're feeling big feelings right now, but just so you know, what you're doing to me is actually love bombing me, and I need you to slow down. And when that started happening, then he started getting angry. So when you confront the love bomber or the manipulator, they get real defensive and angry real fast. And that imploded on itself tremendously fast. And I'm really happy it did
Mhm.
because it
Well,
saved me.
I'm going to flip the script on you a little bit
Yeah.
and ask you if you looked from a different perspective. Like nobody's love bombing you. They're not
Okay.
out to love bomb you. They're not out to manipulate you. They're just playing out their desire, playing out their trauma, playing out their history, tending to their wounding or avoiding their wounding, living
Yes.
their life. And along comes Christine and they want something with you. They want to connect with you. They want a friendship. They want you as a lover. They want to, they may want something from you.
Right.
And here comes Christine, who is not a victim. You're not a victim. You're doing you.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come at you, they're not doing it to you. They're
Mm-hmm.
just doing their thing. And I suspect that if they touch upon your wounding, it's going to occur like you're a victim in the story and you're getting love bombed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are these people out there with love bombs and they're coming at you and you get to be at the effect of their behavior, their manipulation. Well, what if nobody's out there doing it to you?
Right.
What if no one in our lives, you see, I have this saying, eventually our villains have to stop being villains.
Yeah.
We need to take on this. I've created my life.
Right.
See, if you didn't have your history, they'd love bomb you. You'd say, "Oh, isn't that cute?" You wouldn't respond the way that you did. Now, I think the way you said you responded, the way that you said you responded was an upgrade from the way a lot of people respond. They just some people get hooked.
Right. Now, understand that if he was a stranger coming into my life and love bombing me like that so quickly, I just would have walked away and wouldn't have said a fucking thing. I just would have walked. But he's an old friend, like many, 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 many years friend. So, and I could tell that something was off and I knew something was wrong. So, I did work it through with him to the point where I'm like, listen, you need to go get help for the drugs and alcohol. Cause I can feel it. I can hear it, cause we were on the phone and video or whatever. But, the thing is that, I said to him, look, you're doing these behaviors. I don't know why. We need to figure out what is going on with you. And then found out it was the problem. But I'm going to point it out to somebody if I'm in a relationship in some form with someone, not just a stranger, of course. Stranger, I don't give two fucks. They can take the door right there and I won't have to say a thing. Now, real love. I do want to talk about how healthy love looks. Okay. It grows organically with mutual curiosity and shared values. I think that there's room to breathe. There's no pressure, no rush. It's moments of that's not overwhelming. You can tell they care about you, but they're not pressuring you. It's rooted in honesty, respect, and emotional safety. I think that is the hugest one for me anyway. They don't put you on a pedestal. You're truly seen with flaws and all. And the relationship brings clarity, not confusion. So those are my 5 points about what healthy love feels like. What about you, Steve?
Well, I'm thinking about that, and I would say that yes, those are certain ideals that might be present in a loving relationship. But I think love is a created experience. It's a place to come from. It's not a noun. It's not a thing. You can't go buy it in the store.
Right.
It doesn't have a packaging to it. It looks different every time.
It
I
does
think,
look different every time.
and I think as a place to come from, it's a declarative state. Like when you say, I love you, I am creating it. I am not, it doesn't have to look a particular way. And sometimes, like all of those things that you said, absolutely, those are wonderful, as well as all the things we learned from the love songs and the movies that make us feel a particular way.
I just think people want to grasp onto that so badly because
See, but,
we're shown it all the time. Ooh, this is what love is supposed to look like. Nobody
right.
knows what's supposed to look like for you. It
Yeah.
shows up in different ways and for everybody.
I think you really figure out what love is when it's messy.
Yeah.
When it's not easy, but you love someone anyways. When look at what we see when someone dies. We suddenly, nobody's talking trash about somebody when somebody dies. Well, sometimes, but you start to think of the things that you valued about them.
Right.
And the other stuff just kind of drops to the wayside. I think that, so love it's like a muscle to work.
I think so. I think that you have to learn to work through the things. It's like going to the gym and working out. You're learning how to use the machine. You're learning how it works for you. The muscle of love is like every other muscle on your body. You got to work them out. So I think something's wrong with our comment section because they're coming through the studio now. And I do want to address a few of them.
Okay,
Misty says small things like flowers is a nice gesture like they did back in the day. That is not love bombing. I agree, Misty.
Yeah, I think that was in response to my question, maybe. Yeah. I think it's a wonderful gesture. I love giving and receiving flowers. I need to develop the capacity to give gifts. I think of people when I'm out. I dated someone once where I knew that their love language was gifts. And it didn't have to be big overtures.
Did you do things?
I learned, like I when I was out, if I saw something, even something little, I would buy it. Yeah.
That's the best.
That it's a gesture of I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
And, so that's something that I've always valued when I see someone giving someone else a gift. I'm like, oh, I'm so bad at that. So I know that's like a weak muscle for me. Let's see what else we had Mickey say.
I think when we were talking about the different generations and how they deal with communication, because Mickey says it will depend on the generations to be honest, doing with respect and intent. Yeah, I think that's what that was with Mickey.
Yeah.
Anastasia says what is the difference between love bombing and love at first sight? What do you think, Steve?
Well, remember when I talked about those first moments, it's all of our chemistry gets invigorated and released.
It's not love bombing when you are initially struck by somebody. It's your chemistry and recognizing that other chemistry that works for you. It's a vibrational level. It's a lot of different factors that are going on inside your body. We're all made of energy. Your energy is working with another person's energy. And that's not necessarily, love bombing. Now, if someone walks up and immediately is like gushing over you and is like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And you've got to go back with me because I got to marry you and blah, blah, blah. I've met people who are like that. That can be love bombing, but love at first sight, that instant attraction that we call love at first sight,
I wonder though,
chemistry.
What is it like? Is it always sight? Like, I know, and where does that come from? Like, when I see someone, is it reminding me of my third grade girlfriend, or the girl who said no when I was at that bar in my 20s, or is it something I saw and it's some kind of visual imprint that I'm attracted to? Is it the way that they move their body? Because I know I'm very attuned to the way someone moves their body.
For me, it's seriously, I have very strong smell.
Smell is a big one for me too.
Smell is important. If I catch that, and it's not so much colognes or perfumes that I'm smelling. It's their chemistry I'm smelling, their hormonal chemistry I'm smelling, and I can read people psychically too. So I feel I feel energy is a lot stronger, I think, than most people. So for me, in my past, before I started working on healing, I took that as the things that I could read in people. I didn't understand it. It was really hard for me to decipher what I was feeling, what they were feeling, what was happening, what wasn't happening, what I was attracted to. Now that I'm stronger as a psychic, I work that muscle all the time. And then I'm also healing myself. I'm working that muscle all the time. So the two combos of that puts me in a place where I really recognize repulsion and what's the opposite of that? Attraction. And I read people very well. I can, so it's different for me than I think the average person. Or I think the average person can also have psychic abilities and just not know what they are, like I did.
Yeah, I also suspect it's how people respond to you. Like, if I'm interested in someone, but they're not responding to me, like they look off to the side. We're at a dinner party or something, and I approach them and say hello, and they're not giving me the time of day. They're not responding to me. I think, and I think the same is true when I notice people across the room and I could see them responding to each other. It's like, oh, something's happening over there.
Observation is amazing.
It's so much easier to see between two other people than it is to see you over here with me. It's like, are they responding to me, or are they just whatever?
Yeah, exactly. Well, our last thing in here was Anastasia said people may be on different levels of the relationship at the same time. One may be ready for more too soon. I kind of had this conversation with Janice's boyfriend after last week when we were all hanging out on the weekend. I said to him, you are in one timeline and I'm in my own timeline. And our timelines intersected right now for us to be together. But your perception of things is different than my perception of things because of the things that has happened in your life, and the things that have happened in my life make us perceive what is going on in this time together differently. And in our separate timelines, we see things completely differently. And I think that's just how people move through this whole matrix kind of life we live in, because we were talking about the same thing, but in two different ways. He was talking about it scientifically, and I was talking about it metaphorically, spiritually, that way. And he couldn't see it, and he thought I was wrong because it wasn't science. And I said, it is science. It's the same science as yours, but it's on a different spectrum. Because my science goes on vibration and frequency and yours goes on what the eye can fucking see. So it's the same thing, but different. We're seeing it, prospectively different. And he didn't understand that. He didn't get it. He was like frustrated with me. And I didn't care. I was like, I know. I told him, I said, look at it as a picture, a full picture. You have the science. It only shows half of the picture. Mine is the other side of the coin, and it only shows half the picture. But you put it together and you get a full fucking picture. And I said, and to me, I see both. I see your side, I see my side. So I see the full picture. He only had half. And so therefore he was frustrated and I was fine. I get it, which I don't discount how he feels, because not everybody is on that same wavelength as me. I'm not on the same timeline as everybody. So it a lot of what we go through in relationships, if people just thought about it, like you said, it's not against you. It just is circumstances. That person's life has all this stuff around it. My life has all this stuff around it. And we're trying to bring them together and they don't always work. And that's okay. We're not on the same timelines. We're not in the same dimensions. We all have our own perspectives. And we're lucky when we do cross paths with somebody that it works. We are very fortunate. I think that's an amazing thing.
Well, it's kind of back to the love languages or different ways of communicating and relating. If someone is never going to be interested in certain ways of communicating and relating, and you only are wanting this way of communicating and relating, then you just might not be synchronized or able to really meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, it happens. It's timing. A lot of people say, oh, it's just timing. And it's right. I mean, you could be on one path and someone could be on that same path with you for a second in time. And then all of a sudden your paths diverge. But who knows if it could come back together? I mean, it does. There's plenty of people in my life that I've seen in one instance, and then all of a sudden, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, there they are again. And it works differently this time than it did then.
So I have a question then, in terms of our topic of love bombing and someone coming at you with so much enthusiasm and love bombing you. And if you are so strong in who you are, maybe this is the time to just receive that kind of love bombing, knowing that they're going to fall out of love with me within a couple days or a week. And just like,
bask in it.
Bask in the glory of this tension and joy. I'd imagine that celebrities have that kind of experience because people adore them, gushing at them, and they really don't know them. There's a term for that. I can't think of it right now, but where
worship.
What's that? Yeah, well, you have
worship or something.
No, I can't. I'll think of it eventually. But where someone is so strongly projecting onto you adoration and appreciation, and it's almost like they feel like they have a relationship with you, and you really don't know each other. It's like when you're a celebrity, people say, "Oh, I know you. I feel like I know you." I'd imagine celebrities hear that all the time.
All the time. All the time. Well, I work with a lot of celebrities. So speaking of Ozzy Osbourne was a client of mine. I did at least almost 24 events for them. And that was a very sad moment. But anyway, but yeah, they do go through that. I watch it, I see it. I observe that when I'm doing events or I'm doing something with, celebrities, and it's very odd. I mean, I don't do that to other celebrities because they're another human being and I don't give a fuck, it's just like whatever.
So you don't love bomb celebrities. Is that what you're saying?
No, I do not. But I see it happen, and it can be overwhelming. And I'm sure that I understand the people on the other side too. They're so excited. They're so, they feel like they're connected, and they like to have that connection with it. And then they're going to go home and tell everybody in their life that they met, Brad Pitt, and
and we're best friends now.
Yeah. Well, Everybody who knows me on a personal level knows that I walk around every day going, oh yeah, Brad Pitt, he's my secret husband. Shh.
Well, it looks like our time is up here. I can't believe
I
it.
know. Time flies, right? So I think next week we're going to do I'm hoping it's next week that we're doing part 2 of what we did last week with more than one polyamory. Oh, I had a surprise for you. I was going to tell you before we're off. I know this is last second, and I'm sorry, Rebel, but we got a review. I just finished listening to one of your episodes, one of the most entertaining podcasts I've ever listened to. For real! Exclamation point. I responded and said, wow, what episode? And they said, more than one polyamory. So they listened to last week. It was the first episode they listened to, and they said it was the most entertaining,
amazing
podcast they've ever listened to. So,
well, if you're back this week, thanks.
Yes. All right, everyone. Thanks for showing up and being here. We appreciate y'all every week. If you need anything, you know how to reach out to us. And if you don't, look into the episode information. You'll have it. And we're going to be here again, same time, same place next week. And until then, let's just keep this shit real. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.